Okay, it's a little after 7, maybe 7:10. I've just spent the last 45 minutes doing a 3-star alignment. I did what I had mentioned I was going to do as an experiment, just set it up on Polaris originally, and then went around and did 3 stars. I can recall it was Regulus, Procyon, and Alpha Cas. Then I went to Messier 82. And look where it turned up. Come on, camera, come to focus. Come to focus. All right, so it's just about skydiving. Unfortunately, we've got overcast, or at least high thin clouds. So this isn't the best view possible, clearly, because I covered this in the previous video I posted up. In this case, see if I can get the angle good here. Let's see if we can cover the whole screen. In this case, I'm operating in 10-second exposure. All we're seeing is the core and core region. We're not seeing any spiralicity, but I'm going to show you something. Let's do an experiment. Let's do our zoom in. Remember, it was my hypothesis that we gain more sensitivity when we actually zoom in. You can see the galaxy, the stars are out of focus. What's nice about this is I can play with the focus. I'm right next to the scope. I'm using ASIair. So I'm going to turn the focusing knob to the right. And we'll wait a couple of seconds. Looks like the stars are compressed a little bit. I'll continue in this direction. This is the fine focus knob on the El Quattro. All right, things are improving even a little bit more. The stars are condensing. Still not seeing any structure in the spiral arms of Messier 81, Bode's galaxy. Let's continue doing the focus. Remember, we're dealing with the fact that we have high thin clouds. I had to run through the routine of a 3-star alignment several times. The stars drifted on me. And I had to use different stars at different times. And then navigating, beginning to see the spiral arms off over here. That's very nice. Maybe things will clear up. See if we can condense the light of the stars a little bit more with the focusing knob. You'll notice when we do the ASI studio, we get multiple layers, I think up to about 7. So it's stacking on us here right now, and we're getting to see the real-time results of the stacking. So it's semi-real-time. Actually, I would almost describe it as being real-time imaging, which is fantastic because that's what I want to do. Don't really like waiting around for 20 or 30 seconds for an image to form on the screen. So this is Wednesday night, the 26th. As I mentioned, right now it's 7:10. You can even see that information on the bottom right of the screen if I get this laid out properly. There's also a nice function on this for full screen. So now we're getting a full screen view. I'm telling you, I really do like the interface and the functionality associated with the ASI Studio function, but you do have to directly connect the ZWO imager up to the laptop. I tried doing this with an iPad. No, you cannot use ASI Studio on an iPad. You can only use ASIair. Okay, so that's our initial view for the evening. Let's move on. Okay, I've gone to Messier 81 now, Cigar Galaxy. You can see hints of Messier 82. You can see hints of Messier 81 off in the corner over there. I've determined that that's about a 38 arc-minute distance. I just basically went online to determine that. So even at 50%, I believe we're at 50% zoom, we are getting some 50 degrees of field. Also notice there's a nice slide bar over here that allows me to reposition. Wow, what nice features on ASI Studio. Now, I can see tremendous breaks. There's a gash that goes across Messier 81. I'm not sure this camera is revealing it, but I can certainly see a great deal of texture in the cigar galaxy. And we're beginning to see, even though we're at higher magnification, probably somewhere around 100x, that we are actually seeing the spiral arms extend out. What I want you to notice is that we are actually seem to be seeing, as we do a zoom, we're exposing more and more pixels to luminosity. So unlike an eyepiece where if you increase the magnification, everything gets dimmer because the light spreads out, this seems to actually literally collect more light. Very, very impressive. Very centered up the camera again. I'm using the Canon PowerShot, as I will for the rest of the evening. Now what I want to do is review a few of the studies last night that I missed that may be of particular interest, especially the galaxies. So I have to go get my list on that. Okay, while I run in to have a look at my list, I would like you to inspect the screen here for NGC750-1501, a member of the M81 galaxy family. Now let's see, that's the wrong light. Maybe that's not the right light either. Move the door up a little bit. Okay, what did you see? Oops, not seeing anything now. We've overexposed. But there you can see NGC750-1501. It's about a 10th magnitude galaxy with an average surface brightness of about 14. We're actually seeing the core. It's fairly large, 4x3 or so, maybe a little larger arc minutes. So that's going to be the last of our previews for this evening. What I want to do is launch, we're getting a satellite passage. Now, let's look to see if it goes at any weird angles before I sign off on this one. Huh. Nope, straight on, satellite. Okay, now as we make the hop to the Perseus double cluster, what I want to point out here is that I did stay true to something I planned to do last night. I basically did my, ooh, we may not pick it up. Oh no, it's too far west. Anyway, I basically centered up on Polaris and centered up on 3 stars, not worrying about the fact that Polaris is 45 arc minutes off. So we're going to have to go somewhere else now because the garage is blocking the view to the west, and the double planetary has basically, I think it's called the Little Dumbbell Nebula, has basically progressed too far west to view at this time. Okay, here we have a perfect view of NGC 869, and I believe it's 884, the double cluster in Perseus. Look at that beautiful view. Centered up perfectly. And all it took was using the ASI Live, ASI Studio to actually do direct communications with the camera, which allowed me to do a fine job of doing a 3-star alignment. All right, I'm not going to give you any data on this. I've got it elsewhere. What I want to do is go pick up a few of those galaxies. Here's a nice nebula, 896. Let's have a look at it. Because 896 is a nebula, we're going to want to increase the exposure time to about 10 seconds. You can see the nebula forming right there on the screen. I am using a deep sky filter. The sky is clearing a little bit. The nebulosity is presenting itself, and I believe we did see this one last night, but it was way down towards the bottom of the screen. So I'll be publishing a second video from last night, which is equally terrible to the first in terms of the lack of navigation and missing studies. But I want to publish it up anyway. Look at the stars. Let's go ahead and see what happens when we zoom in on this emissive nebula. Looks to me like it just gets brighter and brighter and shows more and more texture. I am very impressed. The stars are looking a little off now, but look at the texture in this nebulosity. Clearly an emissive type because it's red, and that'd be a very fine view. NGC750 was a galaxy we can't even pick out at the screen right now. We couldn't pick it out last night. Should be centered up pretty good. It should be right about there. Let's go ahead and do our zoomy thing and see if it reveals itself. Not able to really make it out. We're at 4 times the magnification, 10-second exposures. I'm not sure what the magnitude of the galaxy is. I have all the data here, but I'm really it's getting a little bit out of hand trying to deal with all this. What I'm going to do is adjust the focus just a little bit more. We'll see if the stars improve at all. I don't think they have. Maybe I'll push it in the other direction slightly. What you want is those stars to condense into as tiny a points of luminosity as possible. Oh, that was definitely the wrong direction. Let's head this way. Give it a chance to stack. Where, oh where is that galaxy? NGC750. Stars are looking pretty diffuse right now. Higher magnifications. Now we're at about 100%, which means 5 times 40, which is basically about 200x. Now what I'm seeing here is a striate right in the middle of the screen. There seems to be a fuzzy nucleus. Let's go back on this a little bit. 90, 80, 70, 60. That's 3 times, so it should be about 120x. Now this Canon power shot is losing battery quickly in the cold. I'm going to have to switch over to another camera. I'll do another adjustment on the focus. There is a galaxy. I'm seeing some indications, well, maybe down here. Come on. Let's get this focus tightened up so we can condense more of the light. Oh, something down here too. All right, let's run it back. Stars look pretty tight there. No sign of the galaxy. We've just halved again the magnification from 20 to 30%. Now we're doubled the magnification, so we're up to about 80, which is normally where we operate with the Rev 2 system. I'm still not getting any hints. I'm going to do another fine focus tuning a little bit, see what we can come up with, and then we're going to have to bail on this, but if there is a galaxy, it's located right here, as best as I can tell. We could just sharpen the focus at this higher magnification just a wee bit. It may reveal itself nicely. All right, let's call it. It's almost 4 minutes now on this study. We'll move on. I'll go to another galaxy. I've just reinitialized the stack by pressing this button here, X, to kill it, and then to start it again, hitting the arrowhead. The stars look pretty good at 20%. We're looking for another galaxy, NGC933. Seeing something fuzzy right about there. These should be fairly bright galaxies. They should pop. Yeah, if there is a galaxy, that's probably it. can go to full screen and fuller screen, and then I can manipulate this and this to put it in the center. Something brighter and fuzzier right there. That could be the galaxy as well. I would suspect these both are galaxies here. Let's see what our zoom is right now. So I just went to 70%. Basically, oh yeah, they're coming out now. Look at that. It does astonish me how much brighter things get when you zoom in. So we got a pair of galaxies here anyway. This is probably the one we want. Although things have centered up pretty well. So when I put these controls towards the center, this is the one that ends up in the center of the screen. I'm going to do another little adjustment on the focus. See if we can improve this any. So those galaxies are quite present, although there's not very good definition. That's a little bit of a concern. Maybe I've gone too far in the focus. Let's go and check something else out. Oh, battery about to run out on the Canon PowerShot. That be it, folks. Got to switch cameras. So continuing our experience now, but using a Sony Handycam, which I'm now doing my best to set up, make it align manually. All right, that looks pretty good. I've gone and I've adjusted the histogram on this. So what I did is I basically set the histogram lower bound right at the peak. You see how brighter the screen gets when you're off the peak. And then I push this out so that it's not too far out, because we'll lose a lot of the fainter studies like the galaxy, although the aesthetics will improve. So let's leave it right about here for the rest of the session. Once again, I believe this is still NGC750-1501, and it is present on the screen, but we're still not getting as good a look as I might like. However, the sky has improved considerably. So let's move on to our next skipping ahead study, because I really would like to get back to the rounders a little later on. Okay, we've now moved on to NGC1184, which should be another galaxy. Let's go ahead and do that zoom in technique, see if we can reveal it. Oh yeah, it's right in the center there. Look at that. Look, we didn't even see it before. We're increasing the magnification, getting a nice sense. Wow, that's astonishing. As I said, it's pretty much proven out. 310%. Pretty much proven out that zoom function actually does enhance image accessibility and detail. Look at that beautiful edge-on galaxy. Probably not the best view because of the stars, but let's go back to about 150%. 150%. Now this is 7 times over 40, so we're operating at about 210 or 220x and getting a fabulous view of probably what is about a 12th magnitude NGC 1184. I'll give you the details tomorrow. So that is quite a nice and unsuspected view. You just can't do this with ASIair. You have to use the ASI Studio app. I'm going to pump the focus back just a little bit and see if that's, because I may have over-focused in one direction. And we'll move on to our next missing study from the previous night's, evening's activities. Okay, we're now looking at NGC 1469, which is suspected to be this little tiny edge-on spot right there in the middle of the field. This is not the same galaxy, but it looks very similar. NGC 1469. I'd like to be able to give you data on it, but I have very limited light right now. So I'll have to share the data, but boy, that looks so much like the last galaxy. I may have messed it up. Beautiful edge-on. extensions, roundish core with 2 extensions, edgy on appearance. I'm going to go look at the handset, but it says we did go to 1469. It just looks pretty much like a clone. Apparently, it's also edge on, 2.1 by 0.7 arc minutes with an average surface known as 1485. 1.9 by 0.8, 2 to 1, surface brightness is 13.1, and its magnitude 12.7, and that's a very good look. I just wish that the focus was a little sharper. I'm going to run the focus back in the other direction a little bit, and we'll see what happens on the next study at a similar zoom function. We're just going to assume we want to go 100% in general on these to give the best view. We can, of course, expand the screen out, and there is our look. Okay, I've just progressed the scope to NGC 1485, and we're still seeing the same basic galaxy here. There's something clearly wrong here, so I am going to stop this thing. Maybe I should be using this to initiate this control. Let's try this one here. Using this one doesn't seem to have helped. Basically just reiterated the same image. All right, so we just learned something new. I'm not liking the focus on this, which is why I've been screwing around with the focus and not seeing any changes whatsoever. So I'll run the focus back a little bit and let's see what we can do with it, because we haven't really been capturing any other images. Okay, let me go ahead and play with this with the camera on. Here we have a 100% image, stacked imaged, NGC 1485, very faint little galaxy right off over here from what I can tell. Complicating my ability to set the focus was the fact that whenever you cannot find a matching triangle, you had to clear the stack and start over again, and I wasn't paying attention to that before. Live and learn. Moving on. Okay, I've cleared the stack, and now we are getting a superb view of NGC 1501 with its 14.5 magnitude central star. It's a Wolf-Rayet with lots of carbon in it. What we're going to do now is zoom in and see what we can make out with it. Oh, this is such a great view compared to last night's. Oh, my, extraordinary. Look at that. Look at that. 100%. 150%. Well, I must have almost perfect focus. 200%, which means 10 times. So this is basically a 400x view of this planetary nebula. I don't know whether or not the Sony Handycam is revealing anywhere near the texture that I'm seeing, but this is quite extraordinary. I am just simply astonished by the capabilities. When you use ASI Studio as opposed to ASIair, with all the functionality it gives you to be able to bring out the highest quality aspects of an image. I just wish I could get these stars to tighten up, but it takes a little bit of twirling and time and manipulating the software on the interface to be able to do so. But take a look at that. NGC 1501, that reviews some of everything that I already captured the previous evening. Now it's time for us to go on to the rounders, and as we do so, I am going to say Carpe Noctem on this first section of real-time imaging, very close to real-time imaging, after I've returned here to John Day backyard and I'm starting to get a very fabulous sky. Look at that. Blue Oyster Planetary Nebula. Carpe Noctem.